Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So I really wanted to talk about Life by You's video that they put out. I know that they've put out a couple. They are cranking those videos out and I would really like to try and keep up, but I just can't at the moment. However, they did one and it was 30 minutes long, and I'm not going to try and make my video 30 minutes long, but there were some things inside of it that I wanted to talk about. And the video I'm talking about is the custom lots video that they put out, and they even go into some of the more advanced stuff. Nothing to do with Unity or anything like that really. Like, there's no coding in it, but there's definitely, it does get kind of complicated at the end. But I wanted to talk about the video as a whole because some of my questions got answered and some of them I have some more questions. So I want to talk about it. The first thing we see is, one, I've realized what I don't like about this game, and it has nothing to do with the video, but it has everything to do with me realizing that I like warmer lighting in a game, and this game has more like bluish lighting, and I love the color blue. I am a big blue fan. If you ask anyone who knows me, they know blue is my favorite color. Okay, I love the color blue. However, I'm not for lighting necessarily. Like, it just makes it feel cold to me, which I think in turn like subconsciously messes with how I view the characters. The characters do look weird, but that's another video that we'll talk about. I know I've talked about it in other ones, but they actually did release a video, and that's going to be the next one, hopefully this week. So keep your eyes out for that. However, the lighting in this, I realized I liked warmer tone lighting, and I think if they were to just make the lighting a little bit warmer, I think it would look better in my opinion, honestly. I think the reflections and stuff would just look more natural to me than the blue lighting. I don't feel like I see light like that in life. I don't really know how to describe that. I just think that the lighting's weird, and I think that it leans towards a blue scale, and I prefer more of a warmer, redder scale in my lighting personally. I think that's just what I appreciate and would like to see. And I think that that's something I could probably end up changing inside of it, seeing everything we've seen. The next really big thing I want to talk about in this video is they make a custom lot, and there's so many options to just look at and process within it, and so many things you can do. In this video specifically though, he actually made a store that you live in, which answered a question that I think a lot of us had, which I think they even kind of said something about it in a very early video before we really started to see a lot of stuff with this. However, it answered the question and eliminates an entire mod that I use almost every time I play The Sims, which is the live-in businesses. I actually really like that mod. I find it really fun. And we don't have to do that anymore in Life by You, because it looks like he created that in this video and shows us how to add all the stuff into the shops. Now, before we get into that, after he's built it, let's just talk about the building for a second. I feel like we finally have seen some really in-depth building from scratch. I feel like every other time we've seen it, it hasn't been the best. This time, though, we're seeing him build multiple floors, a relatively big lot that needs to get filled. It was a lot, okay? The video was a lot. I'm going to link it down below so you guys can go check it out too. A good portion of it, towards like the middle-ish end of the video, is him speed building the entire thing, which is pretty cool because we can see a lot of other options that we didn't get to see in the game otherwise. I actually saw some items I'd be interested in using or just knowing what they do. So, before all that, the building itself, I saw a lot of stuff that I see in Sims. However, one of the big things I noticed is he was placing, if you play the Sims, okay, you know what I'm talking about. On the lot, when you're building, they have the giant white squares, the ones that are like, you have the dotted lines and you have the solid lines. The solid lines are the only ones you can place walls on. He was counting them, and I noticed that as he was dragging the box, he was able to place a wall on the dotted line. I don't think it's dotted in this, but in like the line that has its opacity down, like that one, the faded line, he was able to place it there. And that unlocks a lot of building stuff. Personally, for me, I could think of so many things that I could do with that, because now it means I can really adjust things, right? Like in The Sims, you really have to stick, like there's no half tiles. In this one, there definitely is. We've seen it. I think that there's a lot I would need to mess with in the building to fully get it, but from what I saw, yeah, there's a lot. The only thing I didn't see that I would really like to see is I want to build with curved walls. I really loved a good like a mid-century modern where they have like the curve, or like a futuristic. I'm thinking Fallout. You know how everything's like a bubble, everything's rounded. I would like to build a house like that. I would like to be able to do that relatively well. And you just can't in The Sims because the curved walls are broken as hell, and it's awful, and it's very frustrating to deal with. So I just didn't see anything for curved walls, and that made me a little bit upset because I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure for sure like it will be in the game. But I thought if they've added all this stuff, they'd at least have at least one type of a curved wall, even if it's a set size or whatever. And I didn't see that, or even like a setting necessarily for how they curve. And you can also turn the snapping off, which Could be interesting, but I've had issues with snapping in the past with certain games, so I hope that we don't see those issues with this, but we won't know for sure until we're really in the game. So moving away from that, let's move up to the roof. Huge thing on the roof. That's what really got me like pumped to do this. I struggle with roofing in The Sims. It's not a secret. I think a lot of people do, and I know a lot of people do. They showed us what the roof will look like, and I'm gonna put a clip in because it blew my mind. Everywhere you see an arrow there is adjustable. Height, length, all of it. It's all adjustable. And in the video, he also says that you can piece all of the other like roofs together and they will all work together. Meaning we don't have to like, I'm wondering if there's going to be like an auto tool for roofing in a sense. Like when you place a bunch of them, he only showed one roof and didn't show how they work with each other. So I don't even know if that's fully implemented in the game. I'm sure it is, or else he wouldn't have really mentioned it. I don't know. But it'll probably be there when it launches here in less than a month. So stay tuned for that. I'm excited to mess with the roofing and see if it'll be a little bit easier. But the sheer adjustment options that we have for the roofs now inside of Life by You compared to The Sims 4, I'm thinking The Sims 4 could have done it a long time ago and they didn't. So that's frustrating. And I know I'm not the only one that feels like that with The Sims, but holy crap, this is insane. So being able to adjust the roof like that, massive. I absolutely love that. Love the creative like aspects that can come from that. I've seen some really cool like builds in The Sims on the gallery with some really creative roof designs. Props to you guys who know how to do it. I still struggle with it. I don't know how you guys do it, but props to you, like major props to you. I don't think Life by You will have an issue. I don't think people in Life by You are going to have an issue building with roofs at all. It looks really easy and everything's so super adjustable and it looks relatively easy to adjust. I, that's huge to me. Like that's really big because roofing puts me off of a build sometimes when I'm building it because I can't figure out how to roof it, but everything else might be great, and then the roof looks so off that you're like, this is ruining the build for me. I've had that happen with my own builds. I didn't share those on YouTube, but like I have had builds like that where I've done and filmed a whole video for it, and then I'm like, I can't do it with the roof. I just can't, and so I end up not posting it. I'm excited that might not be an issue anymore. Even just as a regular player of games like this, I'm excited that this has been implemented finally. The next really big thing are spiral staircases. We've been waiting for spiral staircases in The Sims 4 for a very long time and have never received them. They're giving it to us on early access. I expected to see spiral staircases in this game. I just didn't expect to see them in early access. Granted, I need to stop comparing it so heavily to like what the Sims 4 team is doing because these people are obviously knocking it out, and I know it's a totally different engine in and of itself that it's running on and how it was created. But spiral staircases, I feel like the Sims could have done that a long time ago and they're not doing it on purpose. But we see them already. And on top of that, another thing with stairs that I really like, he said it's available on some objects and not others. But when he's doing the walls and the wallpapers and stuff, he's like going through and showing how he applies all of it. You can also apply the same things to the stairs. Meaning, you can fully customize your stairs, the banisters, the the little poles. I don't know what they're called. The poles that hold up the banisters, the railing, the everything. The staircase itself, the actual stairs. Like you can adjust all of that to a wallpaper, to a color, to really I think whatever you really want. And that's insane. Like I don't understand. I'm going to just say this again. I know I said it in my last video, but the more customization I see about this game and the more stuff I'm seeing like them in their videos, the more I'm starting to think I've had people tell me they're going to do DLC. I don't think they would. Like I know I don't remember hearing them say that, and I said that in the last video too. And I went back to try and find it and I still couldn't find that video. I didn't look very hard, but I still looked and I didn't see it. But I will say that being able to customize so much stuff and being able to add so many things makes me believe that there's no reason to add DLC to this game. Like, I don't think that there will need to be DLC unless the developers are like, we're bored, like, there's no more bugs to fix. What do we do now? Like, I have no idea why you would need DLC for this game when everything can already just be implemented by modders. And maybe if they wanted to do something, I don't know. I just don't see a need for having to pay for DLC. Like I know that I guess they've said that you have to, but I don't think that there's going to need to be any DLC at all. Like I think it'll just be created by modders for free. I don't think that paid DLC would work for them given everything we're seeing. I could be super wrong on that, but like the amount of customization and the amount of stuff you can just do without having to do a lot of other things, it looks like, I DLC just doesn't look like something the developers would even worry about at this point. I don't know. Anyways, he talks about the windows, and I see little arrows on the top and the bottom of the windows when he's placing them. And I want to know if that's going to make it like if you can expand the size of the window so that it fits better on your wall. That's what I think it does. He doesn't really show it. It could also just be micro movements. I don't really know. But to me, I think it's so you can adjust the size of the window, which is also really nice because in The Sims, you also have that same issue where you're like you have a 3 tier high wall, but all the 3 level windows are kind of ugly to you for your build. What do you use? Guess I have to go down to a 2 tier or use a terrible 2 tier or 1 tier window, even though it doesn't fit on the wall and it looks weird. Like that might not be an issue anymore, which is really nice. Also, some of the wallpapers. I think a lot of the thing is I think a lot of the stuff looks ugly, and it's no hate to Willem because I don't mind like a lot of what he's doing. I like to see the game and the customization. I really hate the color that he's using though. I don't like that hot pinkish purple color. I don't like it. It just it gives me acid reflux. I don't have another way to explain it, but it like makes me like have acid reflux. I don't like that color. I don't know what it is about it. I don't like it. I like pastels for the most part, and so like even this color behind me that I chose was the lightest I could go, and I still am not a big fan of this color. I think it's just this color I don't like. And I think that sometimes it just throws my whole like visual perception of the game off. And I don't mean that mean. It just clashes really hard for me and it gives me acid reflux. I have no idea why, but that's just my reaction to it. I just don't like that color. So I don't know. If he would have done like a pastel, I think it would have looked fine. And also when we're seeing him build, we see him zoom in quite a bit and like we get to see a little bit more detail of the wallpapers and stuff. And I was playing The Sims last night, just kind of like looking at it and comparing graphics and like what about the Sims characters do I really like, and what about Life by You characters and lots and stuff do I really like in the game? And all the issues I have with lots in Sims is getting resolved in Life by You. So I I'm just I don't even have words anymore. Kind of impressed, honestly. Like I feel like for the longest time we've always been like upsold on these games, right? And then they don't release or they never get the features on why they get sold. I know that that's kind of I'm exaggerating to an extent, but I feel like we get catfished out of games quite a bit where they're like, oh yeah, it's gonna have this feature and blah 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 blah, and then it just never gets implemented or it gets implemented really terribly. And I'm just not seeing that with this game. And so there's a part of me that wants to hold back on excitement, but I'm just so excited. I just really am. And I say it every video, but the more we're seeing about it, the more I just want to get my hands on the game and play it and really dive into the game and create storylines and builds and stores. And I have a lot of ideas for mods that could drastically change like gameplay for me that I'm really excited about. There's a lot. I'm gonna stop right here on the actual building part of this, and I wanted to talk about the gameplay of these lots a little bit. So, and by gameplay I mean his store specifically. We're talking about stores in this, and he built a wizard shop, right? So they need to be able to sell like potion stuff. Well, we see that when you make it, you can either make it a starting lot, you can like there's just a lot that I don't even feel like I should cover in it all. Just go watch their video and look at all the options when he's just starting it off because they just start the video and it just goes, bro. You got to pay attention. I had to watch it a couple times to really grasp everything. And he sets it as like a cafe or a restaurant essentially, and so it's only going to pull from the things that are tagged under that menu item when he places down his little thing for people to shop at. You can adjust everything in there, the amount of the item that's stored, the amount that it will have. Like it looked like the cost you could also change. You can also change the tags, the menu that it's in. You can create a whole new menu of new things, which also unlocks. So I know I'm kind of speaking like in gist, and even I'm kind of confusing myself talking about it, but it's a lot of menus and smaller menus, and it does get really really complicated. But they don't like his they needed to sell like tea bags, and they don't have a lot of like stuff to do that. This brings me to a whole thing of like when the Sims 4 had the issue where they were only including really Americanized foods, and it was frustrating for a lot of Sims 4's player because they just weren't getting represented, and that's frustrating in general. And so I think that this unlocks the ability that we don't have to rely on a development team to do it because there's just going to be a mod and they'll probably just implement it. You know what I mean? Like in an update. They very well could see mods where players are like, "Hey, I wasn't represented in this way." They add it. There's a huge like download list of it. I'm sure that Life by You's development team would be like, "Hey, can we include this as part of the base?" I'm pretty sure that a lot of modders would be like, okay. I think the way that they're setting this up to be heavily modded, but also making it really easy to download mods, also is helping them with their workload and fixes. I don't know how else to say it, but if you have a lot of people playing the game and there's mods, like we see it for Skyrim and Fallout. Those are just the two games I've been playing right now, like recently. And both of those have to have like unofficial patches to really run the best for me to get proper frame rates and anything in them. And honestly, I don't think I'm going to have that issue in here because it looks like a lot of stuff, it kind of to that effect, are going to be already implemented in the game as a mod, or even have the development team see it and be like, this could be really useful, and coordinate with the mod developer to include it in the base game so that they don't necessarily have to do it, if that makes sense. I think relying on your community and allowing that feedback and for them to work with you is giant within games like this, and we're not seeing it. We just recently saw it with the Helldivers thing that went on, where everyone dropped Helldivers because PSN was trying to add where you had to link an account and cut off a bunch of countries from playing the game that they already purchased. I'm not going to get into it, but I'm just saying I think that they're going to avoid a lot of problems for themselves by doing a system like this. The menus are very complicated, and I'm not even going to try and explain them all because I don't fully understand them or really how to make them in whole yet. They've gone in a lot of detail, just I need to be able to do it. I'm a doer, hands-on person. If I have a hard time conceptualizing it, if I'm just being told it, I need to be doing it. So a lot of this is kind of going over my head to an extent just because I don't have my hands on it to follow along and mess with things to see what the buttons do. I'm a very curious person. I like to know what every little thing is going to be doing and how they interact with each other, which is why I'm excited for modding, because that's literally what modding is. So I'm excited. I'm excited for the building opportunity. I think what he built was really cool, and he even built a thing at the very top of the shop so that his wizard could sleep in there, which, like I said at the very beginning of this video, answers my question about, are we going to be able to have live in lots? And now that we're already seeing it before the game's even out for people to play, is really, really promising to me. Really, really promising to me. So I'm going to leave the video here, though. That's kind of everything I wanted to talk about this video. This was huge. I guess this video might be a little bit longer, so I do apologize for that. If you guys have stuck around this long in the video, please like, comment, share the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed. It helps me out a lot. And once this game goes live, I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to be able to live stream it on both Twitch and on YouTube. I have to look at some stuff and figure out and get it all set up again. But I would really like to stream this game for the first day that it comes out and just do the entire day live stream of messing with that game. Let me know if you guys would like to see something like that. I used to stream over on Twitch, and I haven't as much just because I've been sick and going through a lot of things, so I couldn't stay consistent with it. However, if you guys would like to see something like that, let me know down in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. All right, bye everybody.